Everybody, welcome to Talking Hypnosis, brought to you by Hypnothoughts Live. I'm your host, Didi Verg, and today we have my very special guest, Amber Cox. Welcome to the show, Amber.
Thank you, Dee. Happy to be here.
Great. So let me tell you all a little bit about Amber. So Amber is a board certified clinical hypnotherapist and has done extensive training with leaders in the area of emotional intelligence, neurolinguistic programming, and clinical hypnotherapy. She is also a global presenter and trainer on emotional intelligence, as well as leading workshops on communication and excellence and how to be an effective leader. So currently, Amber works with over 100 doctors plus their clinical teams on how to better connect with their patients, as well as how to utilize techniques that help them manage stress and pressure, because as we all know, doctors are under a lot of pressure. She's also called upon to work with specific hotspots. And what that means is she helps engage teams, to address burnout, morale, incivility, as well as develop interpersonal skills to promote an atmosphere of self-care. So Amber, how did you find yourself working with doctors, over 100 doctors and their teams in healthcare?
It was a little bit of luck and a lot of networking. So it was right timing, right place. And, we always talk about marketing ourselves, and we're constantly doing that and selling ourselves. And so, I always love to talk about what we do. I'm constantly fascinated with hypnosis. So in my networking, in my circles that I run in, I was talking to someone that I was associated with, but that was working as a life coach and went to work for the hospital that I work for. And so I was telling her some of the things that I was doing with my private practice as well as emotional intelligence. And she was quiet while just listening. And she said, she goes, "You would be fantastic. Would you ever be interested in coming into the medical environment in a bigger way?" And I said, "Absolutely." Yeah. And so that started the ball rolling. So that was how, through the networking.
Great. So we all know, Amber, that there's a high burnout rate with doctors. So what are some of the results of the work you do with the doctors in the hospitals? How are you helping them?
So, right now, and particularly burnout is just a very hot topic. And if you do any research on it, I always say unleash the power of Google. It's at an all-time high. And in fact, a year ago, myself and my colleagues as coaches were called to present at it was called Maine Quality Counts. It's all of the medical professionals in the state come together, and that was the topic. And physician burnout it affects at so many levels, and it degrades the person. They have no joy in what they're doing. The outcomes are not as good. The patients are, they lose the focus of the patients in the connection. So, there's so many different areas of where burnout affects it. And just the physician in general, just losing their joy and their passion and going through the motions. So, right. Critical components are missing as a result of that.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate. And if you can help them, that's really truly amazing. So let's talk for a moment about doctor-patient relationship, because I'm sure all of us have been on the end of a really good doctor, but not very good at rapport. So how is it, or tell us a little bit about how you teach them to create that better rapport, that better connection. And what are the impacts of that when you help them do that?
So, like you put it right, there's so many, myself, family members, yourself, we've all had experiences with doctors where we feel like, they're not listening to us. They don't have the best bedside manner. They're not connecting with us. They don't understand what's important to us. And so, providers are they're so scientific, and they're so competitive, and a lot of their training and schooling is really geared towards that. And so what's missing is the whole reason they got into it, which is to connect and to help facilitate healing with another human being. And so in some instances, it's bringing them back and bringing their attention back to that focus of why they came to medicine and how to truly and authentically connect, and that it really doesn't take a lot of time. And there's a certain specific skill set and language that we use for connection in the medical field. And it's actually the skill set that hypnotists and NLPers and whatnot already use. It's just learning to frame it in that way, but it's teaching that self-awareness and how to self-manage and how to really establish rapport within a couple of minutes with that patient. And also you get that mirrored effect back of when they slow down. I always say slow down to go faster and really connect. Then it brings you back to why I'm here. So there's that mutual benefit.
So what have been the results when you've taught the very scientific doctor or their team this? What have been the results for the doctor and then, of course, for the hospital?
Sure. So for the individual, and it all starts with self, the individual is a calmer sense of being, more presence, so they're really listening to the patient. So there's that kind of like, I always say that pearl of wisdom or whatever they're getting from really, truly, authentically connecting with another human being, because they're so tasked with their EMDR and everything. It's like it's taking away what they really came into medicine for. So when they have those moments of really seeing someone, there's that transferred emotion. Now, on the other side of it, what happens is when the physicians and the providers are more present and more self-aware and taking just a minute to breathe, to really check in, to really connect, what happens is the patient feels you're with me. You're not doing something to me. You're doing something with me. Therefore, I am more open to listening to you. I want to listen to you. I want to follow my plan of care. I trust you. And if something goes wrong, because it's not a perfect world, right? When we say we argue with reality, we always lose. Things happen. What you will find is that the loyalty and the forgiveness is there, because if they like their provider, they like their care team, then they understand that things happen sometimes, and they're way less likely to file a grievance, a complaint, and that turn into a lawsuit. And then also the clinical outcomes are way better. Patient safety is better. So there's so many aspects of the foundation of this work of truly and authentically connecting that makes tons of differences on return on investment and retention and things like that.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So you also do a lot of work with emotional intelligence. I know you train people in it, and how has that been useful? In not even just with the doctors, but with hypnosis. Like, how does having that training, and do you administer certain questionnaires or profiles, or how does it work with emotional intelligence utilization with hypnosis?
So interesting, because I hypnosis, a lot of the skills that I teach them to manage connection and rapport and stress are hypnosis related. But what I start with, the foundation of everything in my private hypnosis practice is emotional intelligence. Without really being able to be self-aware and have self-management, and then the hypnosis and NLP are the tools for change. But having that awareness and knowing that with every thought we have a feeling and we have a behavior. So that's the essence of where I start with in my private practice, as a foundation of relating and establishing rapport with my clients, as well as with my providers and their teams. And I have to tell you, the response to this and creating that rapport and going back to how every thought that we have becomes something or a feeling in our body. It's very, very powerful, and there are many ways to demonstrate that, but that is definitely the strong foundation for the work.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what have you seen? Because I like to ask all the hypnotists this, because we often have that story or that amazing thing that is just mind-blowing. So what's a story you can share with our audience about something you used hypnosis with, whether with doctors or clients? It's just a totally miraculous or astounding case.
I think there are many on sides, and I could think of working with a team just recently at an emergency department where the morale and the civility was really compromising patient care. Mm-hmm. And I had 6 very intentional sessions on breaking down barriers and creating communication based on emotional intelligence, and then sharing some hypnotic demonstrations and the power of suggestion. So they were functioning at below national level, way below. In 2 months, they rose 6 points above as a result of it, and we're performing above our goals. So
Amazing.
just like principle. So then in private practice, all the time, I think just, understanding that change can happen really fast and to show them very quickly. In my private practice, I always love to start, consulting, giving my clients an aha moment of doing something, whether it's demonstrating, the power of suggestion through a demonstration, or just having them think the time they felt something and then they experienced that feeling in their body. I could, go on from, change work with a smoking client within, an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then walking out and feeling, that they don't need cigarettes anymore, to,
right.
Pain management, where someone gets relief from chronic pain that they've had for years. So,
Yeah.
But it's really demonstrating where it starts, and that's how we think about things. That's the most powerful thing.
So opening their mind to that.
Changing that mindset very quickly, very rapidly. I think for me in the class that we're talking about coming up, and I think about, what's the why for people to participate in this class that Beryl Comar and I are doing, and the why is, we have this skill set, and there are ways to enhance that, and we're always kind of culling those. But how do you get in front of the people that you can use your skills? And if I luck hadn't fallen on me in the networking, I didn't know what I didn't know. And there are certain, to get in front of large companies and corporations, and in the medical profession, there are certain things that are components that are very important to say or to drop, that will give you credibility and validity to even have them listen to you, to understand what their why is, how they're measured, why it matters to them. And I found that out. And so that's it's great to have a great skill set, but if you don't know how to talk to them or to get in front of them, then it's can be very challenging.
Right. Well, thank you very much for being our guest today. So Amber Cox and Beryl Comar will be teaching a 3-day pre-conference, August 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, on emotional intelligence and the gateway to working in hospitals, schools, and businesses. So all of you who are interested, don't hesitate. Go right away. Sign up for Amber's course if you're interested, definitely, in emotional intelligence as well as working in the medical profession. So thank you so much for being with us, Amber, and we'll see you at Hypnothoughts Live.
Thanks, Didi. Here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.